morning. It's a kind of rainy, cool spring day in Oklahoma, which is a great day to do some work inside. Finally got a lot of my chores done so that I can get back to Project Fuggly, and today's kind of a milestone. We actually get to start putting her back together, which is the fun part. Up until this day today, we have completed the demolition. After the demolition was done, I pressure washed the inside of the hull and degreased it, and then did the bulk of the grinding. Now, some people actually grind the entire inside of the hull. I chose not to. This is a really big boat that's going to take a long time. So what I did was I ground down the areas that needed ground down, that were high, those kind of things, and then the areas that are actually going to have polyester resin applied to them when we start tabbing in the new repairs and the work that we're doing to it. The advantage of doing grinding the entire hull is the fact that I guess you can put polyester resin anywhere and know that you've got a good bond because you've got a rough surface for it to mechanically bond to. The drawback to that is it's a lot more work. I already know that there's a few places that I'm going to have to go back and do some additional grinding. Not that big a deal, but there's a couple areas around the transom that I need to do, and then I don't know, 3 or 4 hours after I finished the bulk grinding, I remembered that I forgot to grind down the new motor mount location. So I'm sure some things like that will kind of creep up. 2 different ways of doing it, you know, whatever your preference is. We are going to be putting urethane foam in the cavity spaces, and I'm not too worried about the urethane foam. As long as it's a clean surface, it bonds to anything. Quite frankly, it will bond to you. Don't ask me how I know that. It seems like about the only thing it won't stick to is packing tape, and I find that really strange, but for some reason it doesn't. So today what we're going to do is start working on the transom, and we're going to do a C-cast composite transom. A lot of people redo these out of wood, which is perfectly fine. I like the C-cast. It costs a little bit more money. I kind of like working with the product. It's sort of like Play-Doh for adults. It's kind of a I guess almost like a runny peanut butter. So you have to create cavity spaces and then pour it in the cavity spaces, and it takes the place of the wood. So what we're going to have to do on this project is real similar to what I did on Miss Morgan, is create an inner skin so that we have a cavity space to actually pour the C-cast into. So that's going to be the first step. The next step is there are a few places on the bottoms of the sponsons that had plywood, so we're going to replace that with a self-leveling C-cast. I've never used that before, so that should be kind of interesting. And then we're also going to create fiberglass skins for forward bulkhead, and then also one for the motor mount. We'll do all those skins outside of the boat and then actually tab them in prior to pouring the C-cast. So that's kind of where we're at and the direction we're heading in. Of course, after we get that done, we'll be putting the deck down, pouring the urethane foam, and getting this girl back together in one piece. So I'm going to try to make some videos on the process of building the skins and pouring the C-cast. So anyhow, time to get busy.